11 News starts with breaking news.
Breaking in the last hour, the state announced that by June 28th, mask mandates will be lifted. That's according to Acting Health Secretary Allison Beam. She also said masks could go away sooner if 70% of adults are fully vaccinated.
What all of this means is that Pennsylvanians are realizing that they have the power to stop COVID-19 and that they are stepping up to get vaccinated.
Businesses, schools, and cities can still choose to enforce mask rules even once the mandates are lifted by the state. Tune into Channel 11 beginning tonight at 5 for the latest on the impact this could have locally. Well, imagine waking up to this. Your street essentially turned into a river. For one neighborhood, it was all too real. Now the water's turned off, but the problems created by the water main break are far from over. Channel 11's Mike Holden was on the scene speaking with neighbors.
X marks the spot. We're talking quite literally here in Beachview. This is where this water main break started. And well, the after effects, water rushing down this roadway. The cleanup, a huge mess for some of the people who live on this road, but they told us they're grateful it wasn't worse. The road looked like a river. That's how neighbors described the chaotic scene that unfolded in their Beachview neighborhood. A massive water main break at the corner of Vocal and Wenzel Avenues sent water rushing down the street, making it nearly impossible to walk up and drive down. Within seconds, the water flooded yards and even Domenico Felino's basement. He says there's about 1.5 feet of standing water just resting there. While we were live on Channel 11 Morning News, checking to see if he was okay. Are you okay? We got quite the surprise. His daughter's 7-month-old pup, Drifty, made his TV debut, literally running through the floodwaters and keeping me on my toes. In this case, sometimes you just have to go with the flow.
He's a sweet dog. Live TV, guys.
Domenico says it's been quite the morning, and he's relieved the water has been shut off.
So I came downstairs. My daughter goes, "You don't want to go in the basement." I go, "Why?" She goes, "There's about 1 foot of water down there right now." I said, "What?" That's what happened. A pipe burst. She goes, "I don't know." Well, we come downstairs and see this. I thought it was a pouring down rain, too, at the same time, so I didn't know what to think.
Now, we're going to continue checking in with Pennsylvania American water crews throughout the course of this day as they, 1, repair the break, and 2, work to restore service to this Beachview community. In the meantime, I'm now talking with Dom about his recovery efforts and the moment he knew there was a serious problem just by the sound. For Channel 11 News starting at 5 o'clock tonight. Reporting in Beachview, Mike Holden, Channel 11 News.
Good thing Mike likes dogs. Sunny, less humid and cooler. If you have things to do outside today, it's probably the day. Meteorologist Jessica Faith joins us now. And Jess, the weather's unfortunately not going to last.
Yeah, if you want to take your dogs out this afternoon, we're looking pretty good for your lunchtime weather. We're looking dry. We shut the water off in the atmosphere as well. A mix of sun and clouds this midday, 68 degrees. Really nice dry weather for your Thursday. We're bringing back the rain chance for your Friday and much cooler for your Memorial Day weekend, along with more rain. I'm timing out the rain chances and we'll let you know when we'll see the bulk of the rainfall. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
Jessica, it has been a week since a fire broke out inside the Gulf Tower downtown. No one was hurt, fortunately, but people who work in the building are still feeling the effects. Channel 11's Alyssa Raymond explains what's going on.
1 week ago today, smoke poured out of the top of the Gulf Tower after a transformer blew in the basement. Firefighters filled 7th Street, and now crews line these streets trying to fix all the damage that was done.
Right now, about 100 people from all over the country are working on getting things fixed inside the Gulf Tower. That number is expected to double in the coming days. A Duquesne light transformer malfunctioned, and when it exploded, it started a fire and also knocked out the power to the building. It caused a significant amount of damage in the basement. In fact, water is still being pumped out. About 200 people were working inside the Gulf Tower when that transformer blew. Everyone got out of the building safely. Because the electricity is still out, people who work here have been scheduling 25-minute time slots to use a freight elevator to get what they need from their offices so they can work remotely while the necessary repairs are made.
No power in the building, and I understand it's going to be a while till the power gets back on. But you know, we've made arrangements, and we're fully operational and doing well.
I reached out to the property manager of the Gulf Tower and also to Duquesne Light, since it was their transformer that blew. I'm working on that part of the story for Channel 11 News at 5. Reporting in downtown Pittsburgh, Alyssa Raymond, Channel 11 News.
The man accused of robbing a bank and causing a bomb scare in downtown Pittsburgh went before a judge this morning, and we just got new details into what happened inside the bank. According to police paperwork, Dante Engram walked into the PNC Bank, I should say, on Fifth Avenue, and gave a teller a note saying he wanted $25,000 and had a bomb. Workers told him they didn't have cash inside the bank and said he would have to go to the ATM outside. They were able to get him out the door and into police custody. Police then threw the bag into an open area until they could determine that the bag did not have a bomb in it. A peace rally is planned for tonight in Penn Hills. This after 4 high schoolers have died in the last 6 weeks. 3 students lost their lives to violence. 17-year-old Jason Jackson was shot and killed on Monday. The district posted this tribute after his death. In it, his mother says her son was special and will be deeply missed by his family and the community. The other 3 victims include 2 students who were shot to death and another who died from a heroin overdose.
These kids had a name, they had an identity, and we want the families to know that, and we're giving the families the opportunity when they're ready to make some remarks and posting exactly what they're telling us about their kids and how they want their kids to be remembered.
A trauma response unit has been meeting with kids at the school this week. Tonight's rally starts at 6. Look for new coverage tonight on Channel 11 News at 6. The clock is ticking. President Joe Biden has given the U.S. Intelligence Committee 90 days to get to the bottom of the origins of the coronavirus. In an exclusive interview, Janice Mackey-Frayer explains what prompted the new push.
There have long been questions around the Wuhan Institute of Virology, where they study some of the most dangerous pathogens on the planet, including coronaviruses. At first, the lab leak theory was dismissed as fringe. Now, the lack of any scientific evidence to explain the first outbreak in Wuhan has prompted President Biden to order the intelligence community to come up with something. This redoubling of effort seems as much about finding a smoking gun as it is about transparency, what much of the international community says China has been lacking. China was quick to criticize President Biden's statement today, saying the U.S. is fixated on what it calls lies. It's also, unsurprisingly, looking for a broader investigation into other labs around the world, including the United States. President Biden has given the intelligence community 90 days to come up with something that might help steer the investigation in a better direction. Janice Mackey-Frayer, NBC News, Beijing.
The Pennsylvania State Health Department is dropping legal cases against more than 40 restaurants. These were businesses accused of defying state orders during the pandemic. The cases were against restaurants that kept serving customers after the December indoor dining ban and those who didn't maintain social distancing protocols. Health Department officials say they dropped the cases because COVID cases, hospitalizations, and deaths are all down. There's a new report into COVID-19 long haulers. The studies found nearly 75% of people experience COVID-19 symptoms weeks after diagnosis. Long haulers is the term given to patients with lasting side effects from the virus. The most frequent symptom was fatigue, followed by difficulty breathing, then insomnia. Typically, the symptoms last 30 to 60 days after a diagnosis. New at noon, the number of Americans seeking unemployment benefits dropped last week to 406,000. That is the lowest weekly number since the start of the pandemic, at about 38,000 fewer than the previous week. The unemployment rate is at 6.1%, still well above the 3.5% just before the pandemic struck. Also new at noon, CVS is jumping on the vaccine giveaway bandwagon. This morning, the pharmacy announced it has its hashtag One Step Closer sweepstakes for people who've gotten or plan to get a COVID-19 vaccine through CVS Health. Prizes include cash, cruises, and coupons, as well as trips to the Super Bowl, Bermuda, and the 2022 NCAA Final Four. Other vacations are also up for grabs. You can enter starting June 1st. A counteroffer to a counteroffer. Republicans are unveiling a new plan to fix the nation's roads and bridges, hoping to strike a deal with the president. Channel 11's Jacqueline Fell is in Washington with details of the plan as some on Capitol Hill grow impatient.
Senate Republicans unveiled a $928 billion infrastructure counteroffer to President Joe Biden.
We want to focus on actual infrastructure, right? The platforms and services that move people and goods and services through our economy.
The plan includes money for roads, bridges, airports, and broadband. Also money for electric vehicles and water systems. The president's latest offer came in at $1.7 trillion. He urged GOP lawmakers to put at least $1 trillion into a package. While we're still waiting to hear from the White House about this new plan, one Democratic leader is questioning whether bipartisanship is possible.
President Biden has reached out to the Republicans over and over again to try to reach some compromise. I think he is right to do that, but at some point we have to move forward.
The president's plan calls for a tax hike on corporations and the wealthiest Americans. In this latest plan, Republicans again firmly rejected that idea. I'm Jacqueline Fell reporting for the Washington News Bureau.
And staying in D.C., Senate Republicans are expected to block a bill today that would create a commission to investigate the Capitol riot. The House passed legislation to create a bipartisan panel of 10 people to figure out what happened when protesters stormed the Capitol January 6th. 5 people died as a result, and about 140 police officers were injured. 35 House Republicans crossed the aisle to join Democrats to pass the bill, but Senate Republicans say Democrats want a commission so they can use it as a political tool in the 2022 midterm elections.
Conditions are pretty nice and dry right now, but we have wet weather on the way as we wrap up this week. I'm timing out rain chances when we return.
Grounded, the new program designed to keep bad and unqualified pilots out of the cockpit.
It's just so selfish to get in that car and take those chances. She could have killed anybody.
Stuck in the middle of a tragedy, why family members of a woman killed in a car crash are nowhere near ready to forgive the driver. Memorial Day weekend is one of the most traveled holidays, and this year it will be the first since the COVID vaccine has been available. So state police are cracking down on drunk and impaired drivers through Operation Care. They also say they'll to be careful in construction zones and move over for emergency vehicles, and don't get too close to the driver in front of you.
At the end of this whole event and this season, that the biggest thing is everybody just wants to go home and be home with their family and make it to your final destination.
44 million drivers are expected to be on the roads in Pennsylvania, Ohio, and West Virginia for Memorial Day. The number of guns found at airports has doubled in the last year. Pittsburgh International is on pace to set a record. So far, they found 12 this year. The TSA says there's a reason. During the pandemic, air travel dropped 60%, but saw more leisure travelers who were not familiar with the rules. They say they need people to know the rules before getting to the airport.
The excuse is I forgot it's in my bag. A loaded weapon in a bag that's on an X-ray belt and thrown around is a real concern of ours.
You can travel with a gun, but it must be in your checked bag, and you have to tell the airline when checking in, and it has to be in a locked case that cannot be easily opened. New at noon, the FAA just gave the go-ahead to create a database on pilots. It will contain employment history, training, qualifications, and drug and alcohol histories. Airlines will be expected to consult the database before hiring a pilot. The push to start the database came after a 2009 plane crash that killed 50 people. The pilot of the plane failed an FAA exam 3 times before being hired. Airlines will have about 3 years to fully comply with the new rule. People living in one Pittsburgh neighborhood got so frustrated with drivers speeding up and down their street, they took matters into their own hands. Channel 11's Amy Hudak learned what they bought and installed themselves to make their neighborhood a little safer.
For 20 years, neighbors say they've been fighting to get something done before a life is lost. It starts at this stop sign that people just blow right through. Neighbors said enough and literally took matters into their own hands.
This needs to be done.
I think it's great.
Enough was enough.
You won't find a single neighbor on Jacksonia Street who's against it.
For the safety of the people that live on the street, children, pets.
Put the gas on and just go without any regard for the surroundings.
Neighbors say they got tired of waiting, so they went on Amazon and bought something I didn't even know you could order. Yep, a speed bump.
Every day pray that some accident doesn't happen out here. People fly through it, 50, 60, even higher speeds than that.
Neighbors hammered the 7 stakes into the asphalt themselves.
Do you wait until then I got to live here knowing that somebody got hurt out front of my house?
2 children have been struck by cars on this street over the last decade.
And we had a young lady who, when she was approximately 5 years old, she was coming out into the street to cross and she got hit by a car. And we have a student who lives further down on the street who was seriously injured but by getting hit by a car.
It's caused me a lot of concern for my kids when they play outside.
Neighbors say they hope it stays, but if it has to come out, they hope the city can at least put one in for them.
You know, one of my neighbors down the street already asked where she can get one too, so I think it's kind of like a sentiment for the whole entire neighborhood.
Amy Hudak, Channel 11 News.
Of course, the question is this legal? We've reached out to the city to ask if those neighbors are allowed to install their own speed bumps or if they would be cited for doing so, and we have not yet heard back.
Take cover. Don't be stupid and get out on your porch and watch it. Just take cover.
And judging by this video, that guy knows what he's talking about. This is some of the widespread damage left behind after severe weather moved through central Kansas late last night. And not surprisingly, there were also reports of a tornado there. Closer to home, a Westmoreland County homeowner has a lot of repairs to make after last night's storms. This is in Hempfield Township. The wind ripped the roof right off a home along Wyoming Street and dumped it across the street.
It just sounded like a train. It went from nothing to got real loud, real fast, like it was right there. He was like, wow, what happened? She's like, I just seen part of the house go by. And I'm like, what do you mean part of the house?
No one was hurt, fortunately, but the family now has to find somewhere else to live.
Your severe weather Team 11 forecast.
Yeah, strong winds and storms could definitely do a lot of damage. And keep in mind that winds don't have to be rotating to be damaging. They could be straight line winds within a thunderstorm that could cause a lot of damage like you saw right there. Thankfully today we're talking about a completely different forecast, a really nice forecast, talking about dry conditions. Hey, I'm even talking about lower humidity. You're going to feel it when you walk outside this afternoon. You're going to feel a nice relief from the heat. We've been in the 80s for quite some time, and today we're topping out in the 70s. 76 degrees for the high today, a mix of sun and clouds. We could see more cloud cover than sun at times as we go throughout the afternoon. Overall, today is a great day to get outside and enjoy those nice dry conditions conditions we have across our region. Now, as we look off toward the west, we see this system producing a lot of rain. This system will continue to move through the Midwest toward our region, increasing our rain chance as we go toward the end of this week. And I'm talking about Friday and your Memorial Day weekend. So check out Storm Tracker. Here's 8 o'clock. We're seeing a lot more cloud cover by this time. We're going to keep those clouds rolling ahead of the rain that will be pushing back into our area starting tomorrow. We could see a few showers tomorrow morning, not out of the question. The bulk of the rainfall, though, will push in around midday through the afternoon. Within all of this rain, we could even have some strong, possibly even a few severe thunderstorms, kind of like what we saw yesterday with those severe thunderstorm warnings we had across the area. We could also have some heavy downpours as well, so just keep out for that and continue to check in with Severe Weather Team 11. One way to do it is the Severe Weather Team 11 weather app. We'll continue to give you updates that you need throughout the day as we go throughout your Friday. The rain will continue to flow through the area, decreasing in coverage and intensity through tomorrow night into your Saturday morning. A few showers here and there scattered in nature, and that's pretty much what we're going to see as we go throughout the day on Saturday. Sunday, we will still hold on to rain chances, not at all as much as we're going to see tomorrow. Saturday, again, you could get outside in some dry periods, but make sure to have your rain gear handy just in case you come across a shower, because we're going to have those showers coming and going as we go throughout the day. Sunday, a few lingering showers possible, but overall we're looking at a much drier day on Sunday as we go into your actual Memorial Day on Monday. Here's your weekend forecast. Weekend always in view. Notice how much cooler we are on Saturday. That's because we're going to have some much cooler air filter in. In the next half hour, I'm going to break down why we're cooling down as we go into this weekend. And that's coming up again in the next half hour, so stick around for those details. Also, we're starting to warm back up on Sunday with a few isolated showers, but the sun kind of peeking out, so trending in the right direction there as we move toward Memorial Day. You can see the full forecast on your 5-day forecast. Here's Monday, a mix of sun and clouds as we dry out. We warm up. 72 degrees on Monday, looking pretty good right there, with an overnight low of 53 degrees.
Thanks, Jessica. Hikers, beware. A Channel 11 viewer shared a picture of a large snake climbing a tree. Yep, it was spotted along the Rachel Carson Trail last weekend, a great trail, by the way. You may remember this back in March. This huge snake was hanging out in Frick Park. It's an eastern black rat snake, a native to Pennsylvania. The reptile curator at the Pittsburgh Zoo says these snakes are harmless. A woman lost millions of dollars in a scam, but she's not blaming the people who took her money. Why, she says her bank is to blame.
The smell was just horrendous.
And why the source of that smell could lead to criminal charges coming up. Greater Latrobe School Board planned to change how it teaches some foreign languages, and it's sparking protest. The Trib reports the board plans to shift French and German classes online beginning in 2022. More than a dozen current and former students spoke out against the plan at this week's school board meeting, and more than 1,700 people have signed a petition voicing their opposition to the plan. The district says there just aren't enough students who want to take the classes to justify holding them in person, but administrators say they're exploring other options to keep the classes, including partnering with a local community college. Penn Hills property owners should expect to pay a little more in school real estate taxes. The board voted last night on a budget plan for the next school year. Nothing is final, but the tax increase would mean a person who owns property worth $75,000 would pay an extra $30 a year. The district is about $165 million in debt. That's mostly due to loans it took out to build the high school and elementary school.
If you plan to get outside, right now is a really good time. Take advantage of today's nice, comfortable conditions because we have rain and a nice cool down on the way. Those details coming up in the next half hour. A dangerous defect, why parents are urged to stop using a popular brand of baby stroller. And More Than a Job, the program that helps businesses fill positions while giving folks who are often overlooked a chance to work. Nearly 4 months since a young woman lost her life at a car crash. The person behind the wheel has been charged, and it was the victim's cousin. 11 Investigates' Rick Earl learned how this crash has torn the family apart.
This is my sister sitting with Mr. Rogers. She absolutely,
Why Mr. Rogers?
She absolutely adored him. That's who she looked up to. That's who she always wanted to be like because he was such an inspirational person.
Mary Ann Kennedy remembering her older sister, Catherine Barvelchuk. Friends and family called her Katie B. The 26-year-old special ed teacher lived in Lawrenceville with her boyfriend, attended Penn State Altoona, and grew up in Brookline. Always willing, family members say, to lend a helping hand, just like Mr. Rogers.
Look what he did for our city. That's what she wanted to be. She wanted to be the person who made changes in the world. And I mean, she did it for us, but I wish she could have done it for everybody else.
But on the night of February 6, Katie B. got into a car with her cousin Allison Matthew after playing beer pong in Brentwood. Police say Matthew was driving here on Route 51 by the Liberty Tunnel, headed to the West End. It was just after 11 p.m. Family members believe they were headed to Katie's house in Lawrenceville, but they never made it. The trip ended here with a violent rollover crash. This memorial marks the very spot where both were thrown from the vehicle.
I was sleeping and my cousin and my mom called me and they said that they were in an accident and my sister was pronounced dead. I mean, I really didn't know how to feel. Like, my heart sank.
Katie died instantly from blunt force trauma to the head. Allison taken to the hospital.
Our first instinct was to go down to Mercy and check on Allison.
Probably turned to anger and frustration after what you learned happened, huh?
Yeah.
It's I'm sure it's divided the family.
Oh yeah, they're not my family anymore.
And today, almost 4 months later, police have now charged Allison Matthew with vehicular homicide, DUI, and reckless driving. According to the criminal complaint, Matthew was going 101.9 miles per hour. Police say she failed to negotiate that curve, lost control, and then slammed into some landscape rocks right here, and then took out a utility pole. Police say she was more than twice the legal limit.
A lot of anger, disbelief, and hurt.
Good to see justice coming for Katie. I hate to see family go into jail, though, but she's made her bed and she has to lay in it.
To this day, cousin Courtney Holdsworth wonders why they didn't call her. She lives nearby and would have given them a ride. Frustration quickly turns to anger.
It's just so selfish to get in that car and take those chances. She could have killed anybody. She could have killed multiple people.
In memory of Katie B., her sister and other family members have gotten B tattoos, so she's never too far from them as they wait and hope that the court case will finally provide answers to some of their most pressing questions.
I'm just hoping that we get justice for our family because that's what we deserve. And, you know, we all want direct answers as to what happened and why it happened.
We reached out to Matthew but didn't hear back. We do know she turned herself into authorities Wednesday morning and was released without having to post cash bond. She's now set to appear at a preliminary hearing next month. Rick Earl, Channel 11 News.
A South Park woman is suing Dollar Bank, saying they should have stopped her from being scammed. Mary Clayton made 4 wire transfers to a cryptocurrency account in the summer of 2019, totaling $4.3 million. The lawsuit alleges bank employees never questioned why, despite a promise that they'd take steps to protect customers against scams. A Dollar Bank spokesperson told our trip partners they've opened a full investigation into the matter. Well, it is comfortable out there today, but as meteorologist Jessica Faith explains, plan for a much cooler holiday weekend.
Yeah, and we're looking pretty cool right now. Not cold, but pretty comfortable. Not too hot, not too cold, but just right across the area. 68 in Pittsburgh, 71 Washington, Morgantown. Cool off toward the north, and Butler at 67 degrees, and it feels cooler than yesterday. You are right. We are 10 degrees cooler than we were this time yesterday in Pittsburgh. 13 degrees cooler in Butler and in Beaver. Again, this is from this time yesterday. So yesterday around noon, we were 7 degrees warmer in Washington and 13 degrees warmer yesterday in Morgantown. We have much cooler air on the way for this weekend. So the cool weather fans out there, we have some good news for you. If you like it on the warm side, well, stick around. We're going to break down just how cool we're going to get as we go into this weekend and why we're cooling down. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Jessica. This morning, dozens of dogs removed from a home in Whitehall are being cared for by animal friends. 47 dogs were living inside a home along Brownsville Road. A neighbor called police to report a foul smell, and that's when they found the animals. Right now, they're being treated for any injuries and going through routine medical exams.
Making sure that those dogs are out of there to really just know what it's like to live in a normal home is what we're looking forward to.
Humane officers will determine if the owner will face charges As for the dogs, Animal Friends says it could be several weeks before they're ready for adoption. A former eye doctor who spent 6 months in jail on marijuana charges could return to practicing medicine after he was pardoned by the governor. Dr. Paul Uzzle grew marijuana in his basement to help his dying wife. That was before medical marijuana was legal in Pennsylvania. The pardon could allow him to return to medicine. The governor is pushing to make recreational marijuana legal in PA. He says the revenue would help the state recover from the pandemic. We have a recall alert for parents. Ergo Baby is recalling hundreds of strollers due to a choking hazard. The recall involves the Metris 1 and Metris 2 and the Metris 4 compact city strollers. The button on some harness buckles can break off while the child is in the stroller. Those strollers were sold online from July of 2018 through September of 2019. If you own one of the strollers, stop using it, and you can contact Ergo Baby for free replacement harnesses. The Westmoreland Air Show is back this weekend. Why it's more than just a good time for plane enthusiasts. And a silly look for a serious problem. How you can help fight childhood poverty today. Channel 11 has told you one big side effect of the pandemic is unemployment. There's not a lack of jobs, but a lack of people taking those jobs. And while some companies are luring people with signing bonuses and increased pay, one company is offering a special group of people life-changing job training. NBC's Dan Shenman has that story.
42-year-old Amy Jones is new to Schuler's Bakery in Springfield, Ohio. Jones and her co-worker, Chad McKinster, are graduates of the Abilities Connection, or TAC.
We are engaged in training, vocational training, job discovery, non-medical transportation, whatever it takes to connect people with disabilities to the community to become employed in whatever occupation they'd like to be employed in.
The Abilities Connections Academy offers a 110-hour training program that includes anything from manufacturing, the soft skills required for customer relations, to food preparation.
I learned how to cut meat and lettuce right.
Despite the pandemic, TAC opened a restaurant so program participants have real-life training.
We also provide live experience for their resume.
They teach me a lot to get me a job at Schuler's.
Darren Huff heads up human resources at Schuler's Bakery and says employees like Jones and McKinster are treated like everyone else.
You know, having a job just means everything to them. So they do give 100%.
Huff says employers having a hard time filling positions should consider a non-traditional approach.
This is a really kind of like an untapped resource, and it's amazing, you know, the quality of the candidate that you can get to come work for you.
Tapping into a special group of people that does as much for the community as the job does for them. Dan Sheneman, NBC News.
The NFL really wants its players to get their COVID shots, and that's apparent in their new restrictions for players who don't get a vaccine. Unvaccinated players must wear a mask at team facilities, get tested daily, and have no interaction with family and friends during travel. Commissioner Roger Goodell says 30 of the 32 teams have more than 90% of their personnel vaccinated. 4 major health organizations are calling for global action to end tobacco use for good. The American Heart Association is joining forces with 3 other groups to urge governments to implement prevention policies, tax hikes, and advertising bans. Tobacco causes an estimated 12% of deaths worldwide among adults over 30. People in McCandless could soon raise backyard chickens without breaking the law. According to our trip partners, council is considering an ordinance that would let people raise chickens as long as they have enough space for each bird. People started petitioning council to set these guidelines 3 years ago, and the ordinance is expected to be voted on in July.
We're pretty nice right now, dry and mild. We're not going to feel so nice going into the weekend. I'm talking about some much cooler air filtering in. I have details on when you will need to dust off that coat.
I'm pretty surprised about it and happy and thankful.
His parents are probably pretty happy as well. The easy way, that young man just got a free ride to college. Whether you wear one for real or digitally, Red Nose Day is here again. NBC is teaming up with Comic Relief US to help raise money to fight child poverty in the U.S. and around the world. It's raised $240 million in the last 6 years. And Mark Barger has a preview of tonight's big events.
Drop him! On a drizzly night 4 years ago.
It's basically was a slip and slide.
The start of Red Nose Day left host Chris Hardwick with a red face.
I already fell. It's imperfect. When you fall on live television, you fall, and that's it. That is how you start Red Nose Day.
Hardwick recovered from that tumble and returns tonight in a much drier venue.
It's Red Nose Day on the wall.
Hardwick plays host to a Dallas couple out to win money to help families in poverty they've already assisted in their own community, emblematic of the national problem.
13 million children in the U.S., even before the COVID crisis, were living in poverty. That's in the U.S. alone.
That number balloons to 1.2 billion globally, according to officials with Red Nose Day parent Comic Relief.
While many folks have had a really taxing year, some people have been set back years of progress, particularly children living in poverty.
The pandemic forced a pivot to digital Red Noses last year. Sales of those and other fundraising efforts generated $42 million.
We've seen acts of kindness.
Tonight, stars are once again enlisted to illustrate the needs Red Nose Day addresses.
Just $20 could help pay for medical supplies.
Hardwick will also play the wall himself for the first time, hoping he can raise Red Nose Day funds.
All of a sudden, you second guess yourself. You get nervous. Oh, I think I know the answer to this, but I'm not. Oh my gosh, do I know this?
Answers on a game show to help Red Nose Day answer child poverty. Mark Barger, NBC News.
Red Nose Day airs tonight at 8 o'clock right here on Channel 11, followed by new episodes of Law & Order SVU and Law & Order Organized Crime. Ford is leaning into going electric. The automaker plans to make 40% of its vehicles entirely electric by 2030. It already launched the all-electric Mustang Mach-E crossover and recently unveiled the electric version of the F-150 pickup truck. People are getting back outside and playing sports, and that's been great for Dick's Sporting Goods. Sales more than doubled in the first quarter. The company says it was fueled by outdoor activities, home fitness, and more active lifestyles. New at noon, Amazon's Prime Day will be held June 21st and 22nd. That's according to sources and records reviewed by Bloomberg. The company will try to get its annual summer sales back on schedule after it was postponed to October last year because of the pandemic. An official announcement is expected in the coming days. Amazon uses Prime Day to drum up sales and attract subscribers to its Prime service. Rivals often schedule competing sales to capitalize on the promotion and entice consumers to explore their wares as well. Instagram is doubling down on a new tool that hides the number of likes you get. The social media platform has been testing the feature since 2019. The goal is to make posting less stressful. Hiding likes is optional. Instagram says it will take time to determine how many people will use it. Take a look at that. Mother Nature on full display in northern Texas. You check out that tornado as it built strength in size while crossing a road last night. Thankfully, emergency officials say the twister fizzled out before it could cause any significant damage.
Your severe winter Team 11 forecast.
This shot behind me could be Instagrammable. Don't worry about the likes. You may really like this forecast, though. We're at 68 right now, light wind from the northwest, and we have a lower humidity, which is one of my favorite parts of the forecast today. So the frizz factor is low, and we're talking about nice, comfortable temperatures right around where we should be for this time of year. So 76 for the high, feeling great outside, a great sky, and no rain expected today. Take advantage of it. Maybe eat lunch outside this afternoon, maybe get a walk and just spend some time outside, enjoy the fresh air and the lower humidity. Had to say it twice there because we will be increasing rain chances and decreasing temperatures coming in the upcoming days. Tonight, temperatures fall down into the 50s. Not a bad night at all. 57 in Pittsburgh, 57 Greensburg, 60 for the overnight low in Uniontown. Now we have overnight lows in the 50s tonight. In the upcoming days this weekend, we will have highs in the 50s, so kind of switching it up, bringing in some cooler air into the area from the north. So we're talking about some below average temperatures for your Memorial Day weekend. Really not what you expect for a long weekend. we are bringing temperatures all the way down into the 50s, like I mentioned, on Saturday. So again, today, pretty nice. Tomorrow, we cool it down a bit, but still not bad at all. Temperatures in the 70s, pretty typical for this time of year. And then upper 50s for Saturday. Back into the 60s, trying to rebound on Sunday, but still much cooler than where we should be for this time of year, which is pretty much what we're seeing today. Here's a complete look at your Memorial Day weekend, including on Monday. On Monday, you'll notice that we warm up a bit. We're back into the 70s. We do expect showers on Saturday, scattered showers at that, and a few isolated showers on Sunday. So as we dry things out, we warm things up going into your Monday, where we're completely dry with a mix of sun and clouds. But again, we do have some wet weather on the way coming as soon as tomorrow. Tomorrow, numerous and could even be widespread at times. Tomorrow, we're looking at a very soggy day. So now you know why I mentioned take advantage of today. Today, got some sunshine, some clouds, dry conditions, but then we crank rain chances back up. We could even see some storms tomorrow afternoon. Decreasing rain chances Saturday and Sunday. But again, besides today, Monday is my second favorite on the 5-day forecast. Maybe yours too as you look across right now. So as we go into Monday, we'll have a mix of sun and clouds. Again, a completely dry day with a high of 72. Overnight low not bad at all, with an overnight low of 53 degrees.
Hey everybody, what is the number 2 reason people go to the doctor? Number 2, back pain. Did you know that 90% of us at some point in our lives are going to struggle with back pain? And if you've ever had back pain, you know it just stops you. Well, this is Better Back, and this is something that can actually help your body help itself when it comes to back pain. The woman who created this, by the way, look at how great. I just like using this as a rocking chair. The woman who actually invented this was struggling with sciatica, and it was debilitating. She went to the regular doctors. She tried alternative therapies. She did over-the-counter. She tried body pillows. She tried everything. Nothing worked. What she realized was, oh my gosh, it's about posture. This helps your body train itself for better posture in 15 minutes a day, and that affects your mental well-being, your physical well-being, and your emotional well-being. Right now on localsteals.com, these are 30% off, and I can't think of an easier way to make a bigger difference. And oh my gosh, how great it feels.
One Ohioan is now a millionaire, and another one is getting a free ride to college. Last night, the state announced the winner of its first Vax a Million and Scholarship Lottery. The lottery is an incentive to get people to get their COVID vaccines. A woman from Silverton, Ohio, won the $1 million prize, and Joseph Costello from Englewood, Ohio, won a 4-year scholarship, including tuition, room and board, and books to an Ohio public university. Governor Mike DeWine said the $1 million prize has helped boost the state's vaccination rate by 45%. And he said the scholarship has led to a 94% increase in vaccinations among those aged 16 and 17.
It's a great night, to meet this wonderful family and talk with Joseph, and he's excited. Family's excited.
Ohio is just one of a handful of states offering cash prizes and other incentives to people who get vaccinated. Another winner for both prizes will be announced each Wednesday for the next month. O'Hara is the latest township planning to honor hometown heroes with a banner program. The new signs will go up along utility posts along several township roads. They'll display a veteran's name, their branch of service, and a picture. The cost for each one is $125. The Westmoreland Air Show is taking flight once again. COVID-19 grounded the show last year. Officials tell us there will be more safety measures in place than ever before. Thousands of people usually show up over the 2-day event, and it is a big economic boost for local businesses.
We're preparing for basically a full house. Saturday and Sunday especially, those are both big days for us and everyone in the area.
New this year, a Heroes Tribute Flight that's dedicated to first responders, healthcare workers, and other essential workers who helped get us through the pandemic. The show is Saturday and Sunday. That's all for Channel 11 News at noon. Thanks for joining us. Our next newscast is tonight at 5. Have a great day.